Yo, what's up guys? We are back here at Custom Coatings today, and we're gonna get stuck into the S13 build today. So it's been chilling here for a few months. We've been waiting for some parts and Grant to finish up some of his other projects. But today we're gonna get started gluing on the rear fenders, getting the rear bumper fit onto the car, and we're also yanking out the whole engine. We're gonna be soda blasting that, painting the rocker cover, and repainting the whole engine bay, getting it all sanded real nice. Because we did already paint it, but we didn't take the engine out and we couldn't reach every area. And I also got a brake booster delete as well from GK Tech, and a bunch of other parts that I'm going to show you guys today. So let's go take a look at the car. So the guys are currently taking out the engine, and we're also taking out the gearbox as well. I just got these Ganador rips. Basically they're handmade here in New Zealand. You know, instead of paying 4K for some real Ganadors, I think these were like just under $1,000. So pretty stoked with them. They look way better than the stock mirrors, and they're all got all the power and everything as well, so very happy. It suits the curves of the car a lot better.
Are you interviewing?
Yeah.
Interview style.
I already
so
did the intro.
You gotta do questions, bro.
Yeah. What do we do?
I'll tell you what, I am gonna stop doing this thing basically so much.
So basically,
yeah. I'll tell you exactly what I'm going to be doing instead of basically what I'm doing.
At least you don't say literally all the time.
Things just...
That's way worse.
Okay. POA for the day, bro. Get these things glued up onto this. I'm just going to clean these up. Just double check, make sure everything is what it needs to be.
Have you taken pictures of it for sure?
Yeah. Well, this is one of the steps of the process where pictures have to be taken, so nothing before this needed to be taken, needed to have pictures taken. So this is just copper weld, this will wash off and then the welds will be exposed again, and I'll just double check to make sure there's no holes like that.
Yeah.
And all penetrations are what they need to be, or there's good penetration in the welds, nothing cold, nothing fucking stupid. Then pictures, and then yeah, move forward from there. This camera is quite close to my face. So, in preparation of gluing these panels on, you can see, this doesn't constitute, it fits. Yeah, I'll just be showing you guys, the process of installing a glue-on wide body. And the processes that we take and use to achieve that look, like an OEM look, of course, because you don't want it to look like fucking some dude did it on the pavement. So,
Yeah, because I hate, at least for Sylvia's, I don't like the look of the bolt-on with the rivets. I really don't like that. And also just for, you know, it's a drift car, so we want to be able to like replace these parts easily. So we're not going to do the whole fade in and out of the B pillar there. So C pillar, sorry. So what we're going to do is glue it on so there's no nuts exposed or anything, and then we're just going to kind of sand it here so that it kind of lines up with the stage line here.
It'll just be like a clean trimmed line. So you'll see that there is a panel there, but it'll just be a nice clean swage line. It'll look like a factory swage line. Like these. See, that's what it will look like.
Alright, so the engine and the gearbox are out of the car. Pretty awesome watching how this is all done. And the engine, at least the bottom of it, the block, is going to be sent off to get soda blasted, so that'll all look brand new. Probably some of the engine components as well, and the front half of the gearbox as well, because you can see it as it ducks behind the firewall. Now everything in the engine bay is going to be super shiny and that nice raw metal finish, which is going to look sick. Then we're going to paint the engine cover the same color as the brake calipers, which is a different color to the body color, so there's going to be a lot of nice contrast in there. Grant's just finished up sanding the fenders and been doing some fiberglass work over here, so we'll get into huh?
Show them how close that fuel door was.
Yeah. So I've been fixing up the fuel flap because it didn't fit very well. And yeah, the car looks pretty crazy without an engine in it. So obviously these are all the areas that we couldn't get to previously while the engine was in the car. So take it out, clean the engine, clean the bay again, repaint it, it'll look way better. And we can, you know, we can get all these areas here. A lot of people were like, don't delete your brake booster, but apparently this GK Tech one works really well. And I mean, if we compare it to the massive one that was in there before, way cleaner. It's really small. And yeah, the engine bay is going to look really clean.
This is what we should have done in the first place. Eh?
Yeah, so now I have to pay for this paint and another one, so yeah.
School fees.
Yeah. Honestly, if I could start this project again, I would just take the engine out and dip the entire car in acid, and then we wouldn't need to do any sanding or I think we spent what, like, I think it's like 9 or 10 hours of the interior as well.
To be fair, the reason why you'd go for an acid dip in a project like this is because of the history of it, the nature of it, and you can see what we're discovering now in terms of body filler and previous repairs, and because it used to be a track vehicle. Do you know what I mean? It's liable that those types of things happen. By having a dip strip, it gets rid of everything that's on, and it just gives you bare metal. It gives you an honest starting point, so you can go, yep, no, get off, get out, that kind of thing. And yes, you do gain some efficiency in preparation where you don't have to sand everything. What happened was the fuel door wasn't in the correct place, so I just had to cut it out, mount the panel, and then reposition it, because we actually want this to be seamless through here. You know, so what I've leveled the body line with the over fender, got the spacing how it needs to be, and then most of this will actually be sanded off. This is just to keep those pieces in position, and then I'll take it off and I'll do the backfilling with chop strand and polyester resin after that, and then I'll mount it, and then I'll be able to body work this, because it'll be solidly mounted. And that's only got one layer on there, so it's not as rigid as it needs to be, which is why I'll do it from the back, get a nice thick build, and then I'll be able to block and do all the work that we need to. And I need to address this thing here too. Can you see it? So yeah, first port of call, get the panels, both rear guards installed and solid mounted, because then we trim the edges to the original factory panels, and then every other panel, like I was saying to you earlier on, every other panel works off this rear guard as a register. So, and then the side skirts up to there, bumper up to there, and that's just how I work my way around the project. So that's basically the kind of prep that this thing gets for epoxy panel bond. Should I show them your $150 glue? So this glue needs to stick to bare metal to get that maximum bond. Kind of scissors that. And then what we do, so this will go along, there's no glue along there, but it's along the bottom, that front face, this whole top edge through here, up there and around there. And then you'll see the screw tacks that I've got in. That's just to keep it in place while the glue sets up. This does take a while. It's got about 24-hour dry time, but it gives you enough time to work with it while it's busy setting. I did most of that in the pre-fitment of these panels, which is why the tech screws are there in place. So now, once the glue goes on, I just use the tack screws, put them back in, let it set up, and then I'll fill those holes with fiberglass resin after the fact again. These are the welds you can see. I've just burnished up a little bit. So now I can inspect things like this where, you know, you get little blow-throughs and incomplete welds. Because for the cert, this has to be fully welded from edge to edge. So I'm just going through that now, making sure that all of that is the case and properly welded, because once the overfend is on, you don't have access to this. And then I'll sand the rest of this panel too, seam sealer over that, pictures, file it, send it. So when this isn't glued up yet, obviously, but this panel is slightly bigger than the one that it's getting glued to. There you can see, there's a good indication there. So once all of that's done, then I'll trim this back so it's to the same line as the original body panel, and I'll just do that along all the edges. And once that's done, then I can bring the next panel up to it. You know what I mean? So it's an honest reference point for the next panel. This is going to be a little bit interesting because I had the side skirt up to it. You can see down here the side skirt, like I say, the side skirt length is to the factory body, so we're gonna have to put a little pie cut in there so I can bend it back to meet this line here.
And fill it with resin.
Exactly the same how I did up there with the fuel door. That is the good thing about fiberglass body kits, is that you can kind of do this remedial work or modification work quite simply. You know, if you got Duraflex or even, what's your front bumper made of? Polyurethane, it makes it a little bit difficult, you know, kind of like what.
That's why we're working from the back forward, so that we don't have to cut up that front bumper too much.
Yeah, well, we hopefully won't have to do anything to that, because you got fiberglass front guards.
Yeah.
We can modify and fix that till the cows come home, so that by the time that thing meets up to it, and in fact it's only this here, that little top, maybe 100 mils, that meets up to that edge, the front edge of the front guard, and then that's just a random line through the front of it. But yeah, step by step by step by step by step by step.
Grant's just been overnight gluing on the fenders. We took out the bolts, shaved down the bolts, and we just finished filling in the inside of the fenders with some foam so that they don't rattle and we can sand them properly, and you know, we don't want shit getting in there. So yeah, they're looking really good. All properly mounted on, not going anywhere.
Careful, that glue is sticky under there. Yeah. So we just used the panel bonding adhesive, that Xpenny glue that I showed you yesterday. That's all on now, from there all the way around, bang, bang, bang. And like you were saying before, I've just filled up the rest of the cavity with expanding foam, just to help give it a bit more body, you know what I'm saying? And then also, like you mentioned, it just stops. Imagine filling that area up there with muddy water and sand, and it's nah. So as you'll see in your B-roll that you took, that's all filled now, and then I'll shave it and shape it afterwards so that we still get the clearance for the wheels, obviously, because there's no point doing all this work and then you don't get the clearance that we need. But that stuff is sticky and fucking needs to set first. In the meantime, I'm going to go around and just widen the tops of the screw tack holes, because I'll be filling that with chop strand and fiberglass again before we start the filler work. So this part of the process, it's typically this is when nothing happens for so long, you know, just doing all the important bits that sort of Okay, good. It's glued on, but it still looks like shit. But we can't actually do any cosmetic work until it is perfectly, or not perfectly, solidly mounted, so that the panel's not moving while we're doing all that type of work, see? So yeah, I'm just gonna go around, countersink all these holes open a bit, and then mix up some more polyester, and break up some chop strand, fill those in, and then it'll sand again. Actually, I'll show you the other side, similar process, where I did that, the fuel flap, fuel door modification. Right. So you can see now a similar process for all these bits, for all the holes. I don't like to do this typically, and I would never do this on a plastic over fender, because these holes like to come back through. It's called sinkage or shrinkage, you know, where the filler will eventually sink into the hole and it'll just show up as a perfect circle. But because this is chop strand fiberglass, by doing this, okay, see how it's opened up a bit? Yes, it's still a perfect circle there, but I can dab fiberglass in, and once it's cured, it'll be the same. It'll be as one. Then we can put the filler over the top and stuff like that, which will be hopefully good to go by early next week to be able to do. Maybe tomorrow I'll do a wiper filler, but we'll just do the important bits now, because the thing is, you don't really want to speed through this part of the process in an effort to just to get to a point where it looks like you've done something. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I know it's been a while.
That's good.
So we are trying to make tracks, but oh, that's on there.
Solid.
Yeah, you're not going to crash this car.
Hopefully not.
No, please don't. So
not the back of it anyway. Acceptable part to crash is the front bumper, because
that's it. Yeah, Duraflex or polyurethane, nothing will really happen.
No reverse entries for now.
No, never, bro. So yeah, what am I gonna do next? Oh, basically that, and then the next part of the process will be to start shaping up the panels. So I've trimmed these edges down to match the metal body panels, and then we'll dress that up when we get to the filler work, and I'll start to straighten out and block everything. So we're not at the refining stage yet, so there's no, it's all hammer and chisel work now. Yeah, hopefully by next week we'll begin to see some filler going on this, and then I'm planning to get the 2 rear guards primed at least, so I can move on to the 2 front guards after the front bumper, you know, get the panel gaps nice. Now I did see that, you know, we're gonna have we're killing the swage lines in here, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of I wouldn't say a lot, both sides, but shit like this, see? Yeah. Where this swage allowance that's in this panel hasn't translated, yeah? So I might have to figure something else out, because I can't just cut it straight through, because this arch actually comes down to that line. So once the side skirt's up, I'll see what everything looks like, and then as long as it looks consistent and it looks nice, I think we'll have a result that's worth aiming at. But yeah, we're at the base of a mountain. Do a wide body, they say.
But yeah, things are progressing really well. It's beginning to start to come together. Like you know, I can the wide body's on. I can feel the curves. It's, you know, fucking solid. And yeah, things will progressively or exponentially get faster and faster from this point, really. So super stoked. Hopefully my wheels will be here next week. If not, they should be here the week after. So that'll be awesome to see them on the car, and it'll help obviously with fitting the wide body and, you know, making sure we have the perfect fitment, all the clearances that we need and stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave your thoughts down below on what you think of how it's going so far, and yeah, we'll see you pretty soon, hopefully.